So wanted to come on this evening and talk to you guys about what it really takes to own a home. You may be saying, man, it's repetitive, the same things over and over, but really the folks that are having a hard time getting over that hump needs to hear this. And two areas that are recurring I must speak about. And so first and foremost, it's your budget. You have to have a budget. Those folks that we are blessed to deal with, one of the common things that is across the board, regardless of purchase price or limits, is folks have an understanding of what they can afford. And that is a direct correlation to them knowing their numbers. So I'll say it again. You want to go back 3 months to look forward to. And 3 months of your prior bank statements will give you a ton of data on yourself. It's funny, right? All these entities now are collecting data on you as far as your behaviors are concerned, specifically spending. And a lot of us don't have a clue. So I want to challenge you to slow down and get your asset statements, whichever ones that you use to transact on a daily basis, and review what it is that you actually have coming in, see where your money is going, and most of you will be surprised. Every household could probably come up with $3,000 to $4,000 of waste, be it subscriptions, things we're not using anymore, just waste. And that could go a long ways towards your down payment and closing costs, or having the reserves that you need to have after closing. Nobody talks about that. You know, there's thousands of people spewing information, but the facts are this: less than, if we go 10 people, right? Out of 10 people, only 2 of you guys, statistically, have $1,000 saved. And unfortunately, it's what I see as well on a lot of applications, especially in this community. And so I want to challenge you to look at your numbers to see where you can tighten your belt, not only for becoming a better steward and finding more monies for yourself, because inflation is up, prices are up, and they're not going down. They're not going down, especially with all the programs and free money that's being given. I mean, it's inflation's here. The powers that be are actually doing a great job, because it's real inflation is a lot higher than 2%. And you guys know that. You don't need me to tell you that. You're out here living your lives on a day-to-day basis. So anyway, I digress. Look at your asset statements. That's the one good thing about everything being digital, is that it's not hard for you to look. A lot of us don't want to, but I'm challenging those of you that want to go to the next level. And so budget, that's number one. The second one is credit. Here's the deal. I'm not gonna preach. It's real simple. You pay on time every time. And if you're not able to pay on time, you're simply overextended. You're borrowing money that you don't have, okay? And a lot of times what folks do is you're thinking, hey, if I borrow this money from this entity and I borrow money from this, all you're doing is digging a deeper hole. That does not work. So again, that problem of not having enough money, and I know most of you guys aren't just out here stealing, right? You really intend to pay it back. You just get overwhelmed. But you have to start with your budget. And another, or the real issue there with you not being able to pay on time, is you're not producing. You don't have the income. So if you're not in a position where you can increase your income or add to your income, then you have to limit your expenses, okay? So on time, every time. All of these credit cards, all of this consumption, great documentary that my mother-in-law told us about on Netflix, Most of us have a Netflix subscription, right? Buy now. Watch that. And just watch it from the standpoint of how much detailed time and money goes into learning you and your behavior so that you can be manipulated and constantly consumed. Buy Now on Netflix. Great documentary. I don't like the flow of it, but the message is there, right? So, like I said, credit and borrowing money. Revolving credit specifically. Anything that has a credit limit, meaning when you pay the balance off to zero, the account doesn't close. That's a revolving line of credit. Years ago, they came out, FICO, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, the three major data collectors, repositories, and you're either a transactor or a revolver, right? Meaning you never pay the balance down. You just make the minimum payment, okay? And so they don't really like transactors that pay off before the end of the month. But you guys that are out there that are constantly borrowing and never paying the balance down, you're paying for everything. And so it's real easy to get into that position. An alarming thing that has come up over the last 5 years is this buy now, pay later. And anyone that thinks that that's a blessing, you're sadly mistaken, okay? Because it's gonna come back to bite you. It's gonna come back to bite you. It's gonna come back to bite you. So we're in a time, in my professional opinion, where it's becoming harder and harder to own assets. And honestly, some of you guys may not be able to own if you're stuck at a certain income level, you're going to be a perpetual renter. And here's the question. When all you can do is rent from these places, and some of you guys could buy, it's just you're afraid of the responsibility, or someone has emblazoned in your mind that owning a home is not a good thing. The mortgage is the liability. The home is the asset. Facts. But these clothes that I see a lot of you guys wearing, and these watches and all the stuff that you like to flex, got to ask yourself, if you buy something, why do you have to show me? Just saying. Did you buy it for me or did you buy it for you? And I would challenge you that if you always have to show us what it is that you're doing it for the wrong reasons, because we don't care. That's your watch. That's your vacation. And if you're someone that is moved by those things, then it's not going to go well for you, okay? I'm glad you're on vacation. I'm glad you have a nice watch. I'm glad you have the clothes. If that's what you like, I like it too. Enjoy it. But for the rest of you guys, especially young folks, don't get caught up in that. The lust of your flesh. We shouldn't covet what our neighbors have, right? So, like my mama used to say, hold your row, hold your own row. You feel me? And my daddy used to tell me, follow the money. So, anywho, revolver or a transactor, you want to be a transactor, and you want to keep your revolving limits, lines of credit, at 10% or less, not 30, 10% or less. The optimal number is 0. You use their money, right? And you pay it off. The way I've always taught my household, one day a week, whatever that day is, around here is Friday, you pay that thing off, okay? Every week. And if you build that muscle, you'll never have a problem. But again, if we're honest, a lot of us are borrowing money that we never intend to pay back, or we don't have the means to do so. So as we go forward, okay, because it's truth time. We got to start telling the truth and stop telling you guys what you want to hear, because other folks are buying. I just helped a 25-year-old, okay, young man, married, got a wife stays at home. You feel me? Baby on the way. He had $25,000 in the bank, but he's productive. He's working. That's what the deal is. You see what I'm saying? And so, ain't nobody coming to save us, man. We better wake up. we better wake up. And if you're not gonna buy your home, right, leverage it. That's a whole nother concept. Everybody talks about buying. Most of us are borrowing the money. You're leveraging, so you're not buying anything. Okay, you're leveraging it. And when you put a lever on something, you know, $1 really gets 4, 5 for some of you guys. Quit listening to these folks on these other channels manipulating you, trying to get you to invest in a whole life policy that you're gonna have to save for your whole life before you possibly get it. But the fees and the inflation doesn't make sense, especially if you don't have $1,000 saved. Whole time, if you're in some of these local markets where home prices are still under 300,000, okay, and you sleeping, folks are moving all around this country trying to find where you are, and the big boys are coming in and buy regardless of what you hear, think. Go down to your county courthouse of records and see all of the houses that are being either purchased by big money or smaller investors that know and understand, hey, once we get to a certain point, you guys have to borrow, and most of your universal basic income in whatever form they're going to call it this next time. You know, we got Section 8, you know, all of the different programs. No disrespect if you're on them. It is what it is. But all of that money is going to go to your rent. And they're not going to care. You see? So if you have to come together as a family, you want to own as much as you can and stay in control of as much as you can, as long as you can. But if you don't want to do it that way, then learn how to invest. You have to do something other than complain and kick it. Because it's 45 at the latest, but it's around 38 to 45. If you're blessed to live that long, you're going to be like, oh, snap. Because you got enough time behind you where you can understand, well, I've been kicking it. I've been wasting time. And then you can see the other side and be like, oh, snap. What am I going to do? I don't want you in that position. If you feel like you're in that position and you need some help with understanding what type of moves in real estate you can make, reach out to us. But if you're younger, in your 20s, I heard it this way. Every dollar you save for your future self, if you do it the right way, is equivalent today to about $88, opposed to waiting till later where you have to have a lot more to put away because of time. See, it all boils down to time. They understand if we can keep you occupied and have you waste your time, then you'll have to spend all your time with us just to make ends meet. So hopefully you hear the heart, not getting on to you, just want to encourage you. Again, ownership matters. When you're ready, when you can afford it, but don't be dismayed, don't be discouraged, and don't get bamboozled. If real estate wasn't important, why do they keep buying it? So with that, we gonna holler. Talk to you soon.